What is going on, everyone? Another day, another dollar. Speaking of dollars, we got the whole crew here.
Trying to make dollars.
Trying to make dollars. They got a makeshift casino going on. We are putting the roll bar set up. Bayside Fabrications one-piece roll bar. Custom made into the E36 Mtech. And I wanted to film this from the beginning, but I forgot my GoPro home. So you get halfway. Okay. Basically, I stripped the whole interior out. Rear door cards, rear seats, front seats. Ended up rolling into something else. This car had a aftermarket GPS unit installed from 1996. And back in 96, that was probably very expensive, but it was about 100 wires. And it ran from a control unit in the trunk to a screen in the passenger floor well, and then that ran up to the head unit. So it was first off, it was in Japanese. Second off, it was all non-existent anymore. It didn't work. So I pulled all that wiring out. It took me a couple hours, but it was all underneath the carpets, and I had to pull the glove box assembly down, pull the head unit out. So we got rid of a ton of wires, which I'll show you the wires right now.
That's everything that came with this GPS unit.
Now we're just centering the roll bar setup, and I got to get some measurements down, make sure it's perfectly square. And then this is a bolt-in setup, so I'll start bolting it in. I got to drill a couple holes. We'll be drilling the front 4 first, or the front 2, I guess you could call it. These fronts. And that's really your set ones, because this thing was welded on a jig, so they all move a little bit. So you gotta bolt the fronts in first, and then the rest follow, and it kind of forms and pulls everything together. This is my 4th install of a Bayside cage. I've been buying cages from him for my E36s for quite a few years now. And they're pretty much the best on the market. I couldn't ask for a better cage setup, especially a one-piece cage. Every other cage that you're gonna buy is gonna, you know, unbolt right in the top section. Actually, I'll show you what most cages are like, because we have a cage setup in the other E36 here. Most cages you buy, see how it bolts together like that, and you could just, I mean, there's nothing wrong with this kind of cage, but the Bayside cages are just a step above. You know, they look better. They're custom jobbers. All he does is cages for BMWs, so like E36s, E30s, E46s. I'm not sure if he does E90s yet. I have been cranking out work on this roll bar setup, and it is fully installed. Now I'm just putting the interior back together. But as far as mounting wise, it is done, finally. It's all bolted down, the plates are underneath it and pulled nice and hard up. So it's got four big bolts on each leg. You have to drill holes into the chassis, which is all done, and it is strong. And they do stiffen up the car quite a bit. Look at this, it is part of the car now. But yeah, we are putting the interior back together. And tomorrow we are gonna be going to a Cars and Coffee with it. So we gotta get to work and get this car done. Let's do it. We're almost done putting the interior back in on the BMW.
On the BMW.
We got a special guest here today.
Special guest. So Mike has had quite a few E36s.
That's
and
true.
You have a recipe, and the recipe works. It fucking's delicious.
True,
so,
it is the recipe.
This thing's hot.
Thank you.
And did you end up buying another one?
Yeah.
Or did you get this one?
Yeah, it's a right-hand drive one.
That's so gangster.
Yeah.
We should have did a bulk order on that.
$1,200
I slept. It's gangster.
It is.
It makes the car look really sporty. And like I know some people are gonna complain, oh, there's holes in your floor.
Oh, I can give a fuck less. It's gonna be in here for the rest of the life of the car.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. This is definitely a lifer.
I'll get buried in it. like those fucking.
DJ, you hear that? We're gonna put Mike in the car and bury him in it when he dies.
And they're gonna stick the Sylvia on top, and then they're gonna fucking fill it in with dirt and concrete so no one else can take them.
I think it's illegal.
No.
We're gonna bury him in Mexico.
In the back of the
Did you see that dude in Africa that got buried in his car? Gangster.
Gangster shit.
You see another guy got buried on a street bike? He got embalmed. And he was like,
what was that like? He got embalmed like what?
he got embalmed and he just went down like this.
DJ's gonna at DJ's wake. It's just gonna be him.
Open casket.
Open casket.
My cars are going right in the ground.
I told Steph if I die, burn my red Z. Just light it, burn it to the ground.
So that's the only car you don't want no one to have?
Yeah, just anything else, you guys figure out what you want. But the red Z, burn it down. Cut 100 times, measured once.
Yeah, well, that's what's happening with my carpet right now. I mean, it doesn't look terrible. I'm done with that. Time.
Goddamn you! Well, it's hard cutting carpet because it'll slip. It'll be hard, and all of a sudden it'll just get loose, and you're like, ugh.
So the carpet's got a little cut in it, but the floor mat goes over it, so it doesn't really matter. Better than my last M3, I fucking cut holes in it.
Just office shit, just cutting holes.
Yeah, well, that's because I had my buddy help me, and he was just in there fucking.
Yeah, Ant really sucks sometimes, huh?
Yeah. All right, so we finally finished the cage setup on the BMW. So we got full interior back in, all cleaned up. And we were able to put the back seats back in with it. Everything fit well. And we trimmed the rear mats to fit. The rear door panels, we got those in. They obviously fit, but as you can see, the inserts are not in it right now. So I put it back in without the inserts. By the way, anybody that buys Japanese cars knows how much they love wiring. They love gadgets and they love having wiring. This is all the wiring I ripped out of this car. It had all this extra wiring in it.
It's unreal. That is unbelievable.
So while the interior was apart, I took the time to pull out all this extra wiring. This is like an old GPS unit from '96. You can see the GPS screen right there. On top of like 3 massive computers in the trunk that we ripped out.
Almost 10 pounds.
Yeah,
easily.
Probably 10 pounds of wiring. But that's all gone. Now it's only OEM wiring in the car. None of that bullshit anymore. But as I was saying, the inserts for the rear door cards, you can see they're loose. The fabric is coming off on them.
The glue has failed.
Yeah, front and rear. So my front door cards look like this too. And that's really the only flaw in the interior. So what I'm gonna do is, we're gonna get the same material, the Mtech. This is actually an E30 fabric. Yeah, see these? So this is actually an E30 M3 Evo fabric. So if you look at my shifter and the e-brake boot, so that's an M3 Evo fabric, but we're gonna buy that fabric and we're gonna do the door cards with it. We're gonna recover these so they look nice and pretty and then glue them back in place. But I don't have the fabric yet, so I put them back in without these. Easy enough. That's about it. Cage is in, interior's back together.
Looks insane.
Looks awesome,
Looks
especially with the back seats in there. But it was a lot of work. I didn't film all of it because I was just cranking out work. This is the end of day 3, really. But the first 2 days, I didn't put a whole lot of time into it. Today, I started at 1. It's midnight now. So a solid 11 hours doing all the little bullshit. And you gotta pull everything out. You gotta pull all these moldings out. And obviously the whole interior. You gotta trim the carpets. It's a lot of work. You know, you don't think it's gonna be that much of a big deal. You gotta strip the whole interior. You gotta strip the whole interior. Yeah. And especially on a 90s BMW, you're gonna break every fucking clip when you do it. I didn't break as many clips as I thought I would. So it ended up being all right. But and then getting the cage, and this is a one-piece cage. So getting it perfectly square is kind of a pain in the ass. And then drilling, you know, you got 16 holes you gotta drill. Make sure they're all good. You gotta lift it up, take the tires off because they go into the wheel well. And they have plates on the bottom that squeeze up and sandwich everything in there. But it's a lot of fucking work. And it took a solid 3 days to do. All right, so we're out in the sunlight. The BMW's all finished. And check out the, put your little baby cock away. And we are gonna check out the BMW now that it's all together. I've been driving it for 2 days like this, and the cage is mint. Seat goes all the way back like factory. And there she is. All right, that is a wrap, guys. The car's all back together. It's good to go. It's caged up. It's covered in pollen. And that's about it. Catch you guys on the next one. Remember, guys, like, hit the sub button if you haven't yet, and check out my Instagram, MikeG203. Catch you guys on the next one.